right, boom. These are all books written by Dr. Myles Monroe. I haven't read all of them, but I got Understanding the Purpose and Power of Men, Understanding the Purpose and Power of Women, Maximizing Your Potential, Kingdom Principles. Some of these ones, I'm not sure if were necessarily written by Dr. Myles Monroe. The legacy and wisdom of Dr. Myles Monroe, so this may have been written after he died. I don't know. I got all these books, but there's one book that I read, which was the first one. And the first one called Rediscovering the Kingdom by Dr. Myles Monroe. That's the first book that I read on the kingdom. And as many of us know, the message, the original message of Jesus Christ is lost. Now, there's only a few people out there preaching the original message of Jesus Christ. I think, I haven't read all of his books, but up to this point, I think so far that one's the best one. Because it confirmed things that I subconsciously knew in my head already. I read it, I started reading it when I was a teenager, when I was in high school. I believe I was my sophomore year of high school. I may have been 16 years old. There's a guy who lived down the street from me. And at that age, I was running around up and down the street doing magic tricks. And I'll do a magic trick on someone, and then I'll tell them about Jesus. So I meet this one kid who I do a magic trick on him. His mind's blown. I start telling him about God, telling him about Jesus. And he's like, dude, you're just like my father. You're just like my dad. And so he brings me to his house and introduces me to his father. Now, his father kind of just looking at me kind of crazy, like, you know, who's this kid in the house, you know, and his roommate, they're looking at me crazy too. But I end up telling them my life story, my testimony. And his father, he was cool with me to come around after I had shared them my life story on how I came to Christ and come to know God. I became very, very close friends with his father. He had a carpet company. We'd go with him and we'd go and install carpet. And whenever we would go and install carpet, we would always talk about God and talk about things that we believe. And we just have deep conversations all the time. And so here now, when I get introduced to this book called Rediscovering the Kingdom. So he had a friend who let him borrow the book. He reads it and then hands it to me. So I'm 16 years old. I just start reading Rediscovering the Kingdom. It's the first time I'm hearing the original message of Jesus Christ on about dominion and authority over the earth and using our gifts and our talents and different things. But I only read, let me rewind a little bit. I only read the introduction in the first chapter. Just when I read those first two things, I thought I knew it all. But it was something so freeing about the message that I didn't even finish the whole book. I just put it down and I just started preaching the kingdom. Something that I didn't fully understand yet because I only read one chapter. But it was such a freeing message. And so it wasn't until years later, after I got out of high school and became an adult, that I actually finished the book. So I probably finished reading the book a couple years ago. 29 years of age now. I probably finished it when I was 24. So I finished this book, and my mind was blown. And up to this point, I had started listening to a lot of Myles Monroe sermons. That book, it kind of, how do I put this? It kind of summarizes and simplifies what the message is. Rediscovering the Kingdom. All the other books that you can get are the specific details that you need to know, such as the purpose of men, or the purpose of women, or the purpose and power of vision. Like how do you have a vision? In his books on prayer. These are all different aspects of the original message of the kingdom. But Rediscovering the Kingdom is more of like a summary and brief description, very kind of detailed. It's pretty detailed, but it breaks it down for a person who really does not know, you know, like you're really a newbie. You know, you're brand new to this. So I would recommend that anybody who is listening to Myles Monroe and you're considering buying one of his books, get that book first. Forget about all the other books. Get the other books later. Finish that book. Read it from beginning to end, and don't pause like I did and then read it, finish it years later. Like, set aside some time to finish that book. Because I'll say, look, I'll give it, out of 5 stars, I'll give it a 5-star. And I give honest reviews. I think on my last book review of Myles Monroe's book, one of his books, on the Kingdom Principles, this book, I think I gave it a 4-star last time. But the only reason why I gave it a 4-star is not because it wasn't, like, good. Like, 4 stars is really high. I gave it a 4-star because after you've listened to a lot of his sermons and you've read a lot of his books and you kind of know the material already, there's some nuggets in here that I got out of it. If I was brand new to learning the kingdom, I'd probably give this a 5-star if I was like brand new. But since I already kind of know the material, I give it a 4-star. But it's still a great book. It's a freeing message. Put aside some time. Like, if you're a slow reader, set aside a month of reading the Bible and reading this book, or Rediscovering the Kingdom. I don't have it on me. If you're a fast reader, read it in one day if you can, or 1 week, just as fast as you can get it done, without distracting yourself with other things. Like, you got to set aside time and be focused. Don't just skim through it. Like, actually focus as you're searching for truth, like you're searching for gold. It'll make you even more fired up to want to get more knowledge, because you'll start to see things that you'll be like, wow, the Bible says this, but I didn't even know that was in there. You may have read the whole Bible, but then you read this and you're like, what the heck? Like, it points out things that you're like, it says this in the Bible, but I didn't see that. And I believe Myles Munroe was really sent by God for this generation and his life. So, anyways, I'll probably put the link to the book in the description, probably like an Amazon link. The last link that I put in the description. I'm gonna put a link in the description, and I'll be an affiliate, so I'll probably make a small commission off of it. If I could give that book away for free to everybody, if I could send a copy of that book to every Christian that's ever lived on earth right now, like, I would send it to everyone because they need to hear it. All right, y'all. So God bless. Subscribe to the Creed Podcast. Do all those YouTube things. Comment. Tell me your thoughts. If you've read the book, tell me your thoughts. If you've never read it, tell me what you think it's going to be about. If you listen to Myles Monroe, I say continue to. And make sure you do your own studying. Don't take his words as the gospel. You got to do your own studying, because I know he's a very smart and wise individual, but some people they kind of treat him like he is the truth. So be logical. I believe he's a man sent by God, but make sure you do your own studies. All right, God bless, and subscribe to the Creedpodcast. Watch another video. I'll do another review.